Hello and welcome to another episode of Evening Crypto with your host, your boy, the Real Shaw 256. Tonight, I want to talk about Binance and China. Uh, Binance recently was said to have been raided by the Chinese authorities, and our friends over at the block and Mr. Frank Chaparro did did release a first version of the story in which they pretty much try to do or try to make their best effort to give us an insight on what happened, what exactly happened in China with both offices in Shanghai. Um, so this particular second, I guess we'll call it a second or last edition of the Binance raid, called "Setting the Record Straight on Binance Reporting." Um, I'll do my best to sum it up, but this is basically what it comes down to. This piece addresses the criticism, clarifies a bit about our process, and adds new context that solidifies our original reporting. So basically, what happened is, gosh, here we go. One side is saying we did. CZ is saying we haven't had offices in Shanghai for at least 2 years, going back to about 2017, roughly. While you have eyewitnesses saying, yeah, there were up to 200 employees working at those offices in Shanghai. CZ from Binance, the CEO, was an attendee to those offices. He would conduct sort of town hall meetings, would come in and out as he pleases. He's the CEO of Binance, the company. So not surprising there. But Binance and CZ and the Binance camp have both taken to Twitter to deny the allegations that they had any offices in China, that they didn't have any employees. In fact, claiming that the Binance project is a decentralized project and employees, not just because a sum of employees gather in one particular location means that that is particularly an office belonging to the Binance project. Um, Kind of hard to believe, honestly, if a bunch of your employees are gathering in a professional setting in an office in a building, as legit as it can possibly seem. I would think that that is that would be sort of a headquarter or at least a branch of the project, a legitimate branch at that for the project. But they deny these allegations. They say that they don't currently have any offices in China and haven't had one for a while. While there have been numerous, and by numerous, I'm being a little maybe overestimating the sum or how that sounds, but there's been at least a couple eyewitnesses who have come forward, a vendor who's also come forward, and a couple of employees, or maybe we don't know if those are current or former employees of Binance, but there's a numerous amount. I mean, there's a significant amount of eyewitnesses who claim that as recent as November 20th, just a few days ago, a couple days ago, there were plenty of employees coming in and out of those offices, but have since evacuated both offices in Shanghai. And so there is no more Shanghai branch officially in China. So now we can definitely say that, Binance has definitely at this point has vacated their Shanghai locations. All right. So this seems to be a he said, she said. We know that this industry is cluttered with senseless and nonsensical FUD. Whether this is a FUD or not, we shall wait to see what arises from the ashes and what actually is found to be the legitimate um, facts on what happened just this week over in Shanghai in regards to the Binance headquarters there. So I will side with the block on this one, and say that these guys are reporting and doing a pretty good job at talking to some folks over in Shanghai who in some way had a relationship, in some way were involved in the um, dealings within that office. So I kind of will side with the block on this one, and for now, take their angle and their approach to what has been going on in Shanghai. I do believe for some reason Mr. CZ does not want to openly come out and say what exactly is going on over there. But keep in mind also, let's also be objective here. It is the Chinese government, it is the Chinese police who are known to not be crypto friendly, and they could just be conducting some sort of audit or what have you in order to try and shut down their operations, and maybe they're just being proactive and evacuating their office in Shanghai in just a preventive move, right? But we don't know the facts yet. We don't know all the facts yet. We will have to wait and see what this actually ends up what the unveiling of the actual story behind all this FUD and cloud of smoke. All right, so let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, I did a good enough job to give you both takes, both sides of the story, and we can actually keep the discussion going. Or if you guys know of anything that is not listed in this article, you guys can definitely leave it down below in the comments. But let's actually get into the technical analysis part of the video. If you do not like this part of the video, you can go ahead and call it a night, or you can stick around and hear me babble on about Bitcoin and some altcoins. So let's get on with that and on to the current state of the market. We're currently below $200 billion market cap, a figure we haven't seen since probably back in May of this year. So it's a little bit over 6 months. We have not peaked down into the 200 or below marker here with the current entire market cap. 24-hour volume has been 112. So volume is way up. I mean, almost 100% from where it was a couple days ago or maybe a day ago. Now, we know something is certain. $112 billion of trading volume. Most of that has been, you guessed it, selling volume. That's why we see Bitcoin and pretty much everything else under the sun in the red. So, without further ado, let's get into the actual chart. We are currently trading at 72.42 according to Binance, and I do want to reference what I've been talking about in these videos for the last month or so, where we've been drawing this macro trend where we seem to be on this descending channel. And before this massive sell-off that we just saw in the last couple of days, we were trading within this range, right? This descending channel, but trading up and down within the range, within this channel. And we're talking about how there's a lot of room still to go down within the channel and still be okay, right? And I told you guys, even if we come down and touch it, I still wouldn't get bearish on Bitcoin. And look at that, voila. And if you want to fact check what I am saying right now, go ahead and go back a few videos, and you'll be able to double check what I'm saying. I've been telling you guys about this descending channel and how we had plenty of room to come down. Now, I also talked about two obvious things, right? An obvious thing was, one, we could actually come back down and dump all the way down to these levels at 6,800 to the high 6,000s, low 7,000s, which we did. We wicked down to 6,790. I mean, that's a massive, massive wick. And the retest of this prior, not prior low. I mean, if you want to go back to May of 2019, yeah, sure. But a retest of this descending line of support. And we did. We have now officially, can now be said that we did retest. Let's actually fan it up a little bit. We did have a retest of this previous or this descending line of support. The other obvious sign was that we were due for a bounce. We were trading right above the 377 here just a couple of days ago, and it seemed like we were going to we were going to turn things around on a short-term basis. Those were my words, thinking that we might find a bounce here at the 377 for the shorter term and come back and retest around, what was it, like 9,300 or something. That was a possibility, and then come back down and quite possibly come back and retest at that point this bottom line. But Christmas came early, and all your Bitcoin is on sale, so make sure you grab some Bitcoin while it's on this heated sale, right? So let's talk about what happened. All right, so we broke down from the 377. Once we did that, the move was pretty obvious. Now, what's been really difficult, I don't know about you guys, but it's been really difficult for me because these moves have been happening really in the wee hours of the morning for the West Coast United States. So anybody who's on the West Coast is having a difficult time catching these moves. Because again, I keep waking up to finding these resolve the moves, which is not fun because if you're not setting your stop losses, it's really, really difficult to react to any of these moves while you're sleeping. So once we broke down from the 377, it was pretty apparent that we were going to come back and retest right away 7,400. We actually went right past it. I mean, blew right through it all the way down to, 67.90. We did have a bounce from there, and we have currently settled at 7,200, in the $7,200 range. So what can we expect? So here's what I'm thinking. We're going to have some sideways trading here, some consolidating here before we make another decision. So we might stick around, as boring as this might be, and as much as you don't and I don't want to hear it. I think we're going to spend quite a bit of time consolidating here for a while before we make a decision on whether. And I mean, this very well could be going sideways on a downward, sort of a sideways or downward direction, right? Looking at this trend, this could also be the same trend reoccurring. But really, I do think we're going to be trading in a range here between maybe 71 and 7,300. Bitcoin is known to do that. You can actually catch maybe a scalp here. A retest of the 377 is certainly in the cards, and in fact, that is very likely in my opinion. Although I do think we're going to get rejected by the 377 on the first try and come back down. And as we are starting to build some support here around 7,200, that'll be again on the way down. That'll be something to pay attention to. See if that level at 72.50 holds. If not, then we will have definite continuation to the bottom of this descending line of support. Now, here's another thing. We've been talking about the death cross, the looming death cross. Well, it's here, folks. It's actually here. I don't think we're gonna see what happened here, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I guarantee that we're not gonna have what happened here, and then hopefully Bitcoin will prove me wrong once again. But we do see here that big accounts, large institutional investors, and a lot of bot traders, sophisticated bot traders, did actually buy up this previous pivot low here around 7,300. They defended the death cross and prevented it from actually happening here back in October 25th. I don't think we're going to see the same result here. I do think we're going to get the death cross, which, it goes against what I just said. I said I think we might find a spot where we can actually consolidate, but given this large move, a lot of sellers have already we've already exhausted, or I want to think that we've already exhausted a lot of the selling pressure. Who knows? I mean, this, don't listen to me. This is not financial advice. We could actually, we could very well actually have more, a continuation to the downside here. Once we officially get this death cross and the green 55 gets below or crosses to the downside on the 200 EMA, that is a lower term or shorter term EMA crossing over a long term EMA to the downside. That usually 90% of the time has a negative effect on the price of any asset, not just Bitcoin. And so we can expect another downturn or another sell-off once this actually confirms. And we should see that by the end of tomorrow. We just got a new daily here about almost 4 hours ago. So tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, we should see this death cross actually confirmed, and we'll have to stand by to see what happens. If we do move, if we do make another move down, I think we're probably going to stop around 6,700, somewhere around there, maybe 6,600. It's actually put a little bit of a target there. Let's see, 6,600. All right, we'll leave that as reference here going forward. I do think we should find support there and actually have a temporary bounce from these levels at 6,600. If this does play out, which I do think we are going to see a reaction. Honestly, I do think we are going to see a reaction. What I'd like to see more favorably is we consolidate here and trade sideways between 71 and 7,300. Build a nice little base here, and then actually react from there and have continuation onwards and upwards into this descending line of resistance here. Hopefully that'll be the case. But again, these are the two looming scenarios. They're both kind of bearish for the time being. I don't see us defending the death cross like we did back here on October 25th. I don't see us actually retesting the 377, right off the bat. I do want to see a little bit of, I do think we're going to see a little bit of consolidation here for the next few days before we actually try before we retry the 377 and try to make a move above it. Again, a rejection off that level is very, very likely at 8,000. And then a retracement again back to around these levels. All right. So that is what I am sort of mentally preparing for. And let's actually look at the lower time frames to see if we can find any other information. Yeah, stochastic is looking a little better. I mean, finally getting back into the more into the neutral zone. But look at what we've got here. We've got this descending line of resistance. We've already gotten above the 21 EMA here within the stochastic. Now the 21 is way down there, past the neutral zone and into almost into the bear territory. Although stochastics have actually crossed the 21 and are now finding resistance right here at 72.60. If we can get above it, then we could find again continuation to 73, maybe 7,400. Right where this 30 simple in the red here, it's coming in at. Well, this one's coming in at 7,400 currently, but the more time we spend right where we are, this 30 simple is going to come back down and meet the price at 72.60, 72.50. But then if we can actually get above the 30, that'll signify, or that'll trigger another run to the 21. But again, this, as we keep going along here in the next 4 hours and 8 hours after that, these EMAs are going to start reaching back down into these lower levels, catching up with the price action. And then from there, again, the 30 simple should be an easy hurdle. Should be easy hurdle. And then the 21 will be the next area of the retest, and then just depending on what happens there. I don't anticipate that happening anytime, in the very near future. I do think maybe next week we'll start to see some uh, price of Bitcoin go above 7,500. I don't think we're gonna see that here for the next few days. Hopefully we do. Hopefully I am wrong, but I do think that we are going to start a nice consolidation period here for the next few days. And then again, the 377 is going back to the daily is going to be the key thing, right? I again expect a rejection off 8,000 if we do come back and retest it initially, and then we'll see from there. The 4 hour, whereas the 377 coming in at 87.75, it's way too high. The 200 is coming right below. Both 200, the EMA and SMAs are coming in around 8,500. The 55 is coming in confluence with the daily 377. I do think this will be the bigger question, right where this nice little area of consolidation. We built a nice base along with the 55 will serve as plenty of resistance. So I don't think initially, again, going back to what I was saying about the 377, I don't think initially we're going to just get above it. I do think we're going to get rejected uh, at any point if whether this takes a long while or this takes just a few hours, which I doubt. We're initially going to get rejected off these levels. But if we don't, and that's the reason why we're gonna put another little box here to remind us that if we can get above this level here, then that'll be a good thing. All right. So you guys can do the same thing. It's I'm putting that box right around, what is it, 8,000, a little bit above 8,000. So if we can get above that, we can actually see continuation to where the 200 is coming in. And both 200s are coming in, actually, the simple 200 and the 200 EMA. All right, so that's the 4 hour. Again, we'll probably see the 3 hour stochastic look a little better. Yep, it actually looks like, well, it is a little different since it is the 3 hour. Doesn't look so. Let's actually replot this thing to go with 3 hour. Yeah, I mean it still. I mean it already looks like it's rounding off, like it's topping off at the current moment. The 3 hour is. So we might actually get a rejection off of this area, which again would mean that we're going to come back and retest 71, perhaps 7,000 even, and again keep consolidating within those ranges. Let's look at the 2 hour. Well, we have to readjust this thing here again. I mean, that would kind of make sense. Yeah, I mean, it's a little too early to try and plot this, but I mean, we do see a rejection here, flattening out, and just maybe we just continue to be tamed by this line of resistance here, and the price just continues to, as I was saying, consolidate here and maybe in a downward trend. Okay, that is quite possible. The 2 hour, again, it's only a 2 hour. It doesn't carry a whole lot of weight. The 1 hour did break above this line of resistance here, and this one's actually a little bit more reliable since we've tested it twice, and it did break above it. But again, that's only the 1 hour. The 2, the 3, the 4 hour are saying completely different things. They're saying that they're meeting up against resistance and actually rejecting off of that initially, at least for the 2 hour, is definitely finding a rejection and kind of trading alongside it. All right, so that is the 1 hour. That is the 1 hour as of right now, in between the 30 and the 21. Okay. All right. So I do want to go back a little bit again, going back to what we were talking about in a few videos behind. This is the longer term chart that I drew out for you guys a few videos ago, and it's starting to become more and more relevant, right? As we did see this drop off and sell off in the price of Bitcoin, this now starts to become even more and more relevant, right? This we do have a ascending line of support here coming back. Can be retraced all the way back to November 2015. And so it becomes really, I mean, just very much relevant for what we're seeing today. We do have this, again, descending line, this descending channel. If we do trade below, or if we do trade on a downward trend here and continue to stay within these ranges and continue to find lower lows as we have been since the top off here at 13.9, we should find this area here, and I am going to put another little box here. I know I sound like Bob Ross. We are going to put a little indicator here that this should be the place where we ultimately find the longer term bottom off of this whole trend here, this bounce to 13.9, and then ultimately finding this bottom here. If we do break, again, I've been telling you guys, if we do break this line of support here, then we're probably going to come back down and retest 4,800. From there, we're probably going to come back and retest 4,300, and so on and so forth. And again, the further we climb down into these levels, the bigger the certainty is that we come back and retest lower, and then retest lower, and as we keep breaking down, we're only going to continue to retest lower lows. Pretty scary, right? If we do break below this line of support, again, this line goes back to you can retrace it back to 2015. So it is a very, 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 very hugely significant line of support. All right, so if we lose it, oh shit, it's gonna be an oh shit moment. All right, so enough of this doomsday talk. Let's get into some traditional markets real quick. We did actually break above this line of resistance here with the SPY. Huge line of resistance, and we actually broke out, and look at that, it just kind of went parabolic. That's all I have to say about that. Gold is having a nice retracement, also building sort of a bull flag here for the gold supporters, gold fans. So we could actually continue on the way up here, but just to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. There we go. Kind of building that bull flag. As long as the S&P is doing as good as it is, I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon. I do think this is looking a little bit like it actually wants to come back and retest the bottom side of this flag before it actually goes and retests again this previous line of resistance. I do think that once the SPY actually makes a correction to the downside, we'll definitely see gold getting back into the 140. All right, so let's actually look at XRP. Trying to hold this previous pivot. I do want to see it hold it because, again, that will mean that we can actually recuperate from there. But we're currently at 23 cents. 23 cents. It's been a while since we've been at those levels, going back to December 2017. Is that right? Jesus. Yeah. Prior to this pivot low, of course. So we do want to see it hold here and actually see it come back and retest 25 cents. That'll be the next area of significant resistance. The 30 simple is also coming right there. But again, as we spend more time in these lower levels, these moving averages are going to come back down to meet at So I do expect it to have a bounce. I do expect XRP to have a small bounce on the short term, up to 25 cents at least. A 4 hour, let's see, the 4 hour is letting us know. 4 hours actually saying, again, being rejected by this 21 here within the stochastic. And let's actually see what's going on. Yeah, I mean, just being tamed, it already looks like it wants to reject off of that area. So that would mean more downside on the 4 hour. Let's go back to the daily and see. I mean, just completely bearish here on the daily. I would like to see a bounce though here. If not, that would mean that we're going to come back and retest this previous wick down here at 0.22249. And if we lose that, then we're probably going to come back and retest. What is this? What's the low of this? The low of that will be 21262. Don't want to see that. All right, let's look at Link. This is my favorite. Holding the 200 simple here. And although we did break below this pivot here, we're actually holding it. We're actually kind of holding it. So this is why Link is sort of my favorite. We're actually holding this pivot here. And so I would like to see it actually bounce off the 200 simple here. There'll be an immediate line of resistance here at 2.444, and then the 2.55 after that. But let's see how much strength we can actually get. I mean, just a massive sell-off, although not as significant as most other altcoins. So this is sort of my favorite play right now. If you want to talk about a bounce or maybe a scalp, Link is definitely one of my favorite plays. BNB did break down past this previous pivot low here, as we do expect with a lot of altcoins. We are going to see this. This is not a good thing. Yeah, we're holding this consolidation base here. We could continue to actually consolidate here before finding anything, but I do think BNB is in a precarious situation where we might actually find it to go down even lower. Now, if we do lose this previous area of this previous pivot low, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. We're probably going to come back down somewhere around 1175 to 1120. Somewhere between there. That's actually a nice little box there. So right in between this little box, that's where I'm looking at. If we lose this previous pivot here, sorry, Steve, I know that's not what you want to hear. There we go. All right, let's look at Litecoin. Same story. See that lower lows all the way along. It just looks like continuation to me. This does look worse than BNB, in fact. And if we lose $43.42, then we are immediately going to retest $38.91, $38.90, and then we'll see from there. That's on the daily. Stochastic is buried in the bear territory. Nothing to really get excited about. The 21, we did just break above the 21, but it's got a lot of room to go, though. It's got a lot of work to do. Litecoin does on a 4 hour. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of work. But to be fair, we're in the neutral zone. So if Litecoin can actually on the 4 hour has some free range to go up. If it doesn't, then I'm going to say that we are going to find that Litecoin's going to come back and retest further down. This will be, yeah, it'll actually retest this area again, where it actually wicked down to this area right here. So there's that right around 43.06. It's not looking good for Litecoin. Not looking good for Litecoin. All right, let's move on to Ethereum. Ugh, bad. Ugh, looking really bad. Yeah, terrible. I mean, again, lower lows. Not good. What are we doing here? 30's trying to catch up. We are consolidating, building another base here around 150, 151. These are going to come back down to meet it, and then let's just see what happens there. The 21 is being broken by price action here, but it's already flattened out and actually starting to turn back around into like it wants to come back down. So again, not good for Ethereum as well. If Ethereum is one of those that you can short, so if you're thinking of entering a short, then I wouldn't bet against it at this point. This could have some continuation to the downside. That was a massive. There's a massive inverted hammer, or yeah, this could be said it's a massive inverted hammer, and usually signifies a reversal, and we did see a temporary reversal, but then we're losing it. So I don't know if we can keep this up. I mean, the entire market looks pretty dim right now. Cardano having a nice bounce, actually, nice reaction. Although it did set another lower low. Yeah, lower low. Having a nice bounce though. Having a nice bounce. This is not an inverted hammer. We did get reversal nonetheless. Let's actually look at the daily. Stochastic just got above the 21. Same thing with Ethereum. It's actually topping off, and it looks like it actually wants to correct and find downward action. I like the fact that on the daily, we actually held this previous pivot low, body to body. Not wick, body to body. I do like this. It defended this previous pivot low. So as long as we're here, it does look like we actually find a bounce sooner than with Ethereum or Litecoin per se. All right, let's actually go to XLM. Defended this previous bottom, although nothing but red. We are looking at the daily. Again, way down in the bearish territory. Got a lot of work to do. This should have been a reversal candle, and it wasn't. We found somehow, Stellar found a way to keep selling off, even though this should have triggered a reversal. So more continuation to the downside. 0.0528 is the area of interest. If we break down below that, then all hell is going to break loose for XLM. I do like VeChain. Look, it's actually holding right here, bouncing off the 55 currently. Although Stochastic is saying there is a bit more ways to go down. It is defending this area as long as we're above the 55 and not getting below this pivot here. I do like. I fancy a bounce right at these levels. Let's actually look at the 4-hour. Yeah, living just between the 377 and 200 on the 4-hour. We could actually find some consolidation here. We could actually just consolidate sideways here, between the 200 and the 377. So there's opportunity for scalps there. And unless we break above the 200, then that would be significant. Again, that is a very, very important point of interest. If we break above the 21 or the 200 there, then it could potentially mean that we have a continuation and a nice significant bounce on VeChain. So keep an eye on that. EOS, again, breaking below this pivot here, breaking below this pivot here. Don't like it. 4 hour is starting to build a little consolidation here. I do like this. We are going to trade sideways again here, it appears. Let's actually look at it daily. 4 hours looking pretty darn weak on the RSI. Not looking good. Yeah, the daily is starting to it looks like it wants to turn it around and actually get above the red exponential here on the stochastic, but it does have a lot of work to do to try and retest the 21 here, especially since we did just set another lower low from this previous pivot, this pivot, and now a lower low here. So we seem to be doing this here, and that's not good. It's not good for any asset. Again, that's EOS on the daily. All right, let's go and wrap it up here with Ravencoin. Ravencoin actually holding up pretty well, although it is still on a descending trend. This is Raven BNB. I was trying to enter into a trade a while ago, and I just never did. And yeah, as long as we're holding this previous pivot, I think we'll be all right. But there's not a whole lot of action, even for any scalper. All right, so on that bombshell, on that boring note, we'll end it here. I do want to thank again some new people to the channel that recently signed up. I want to welcome you to this community. We usually do some of the news, the important stuff, or at least what I deem important. If you guys have something that you want me to cover, definitely let me know, and then we get into the TA of things. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Cryptoversity and Sam Kersey for signing up. Thanks, guys, for being part of the community. Big shout out to you guys. Welcome. It's an honor to have you. Honor to have you as a subscriber. So hopefully you got something in return for or in exchange for your time today. Let me know down in the comments, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great weekend.